My wife left me after my cancer diagnosis. Texting, I didn't sign up for this. Little did she know. Please stay with me as I tell my story. And please, do not forget to support our channel by subscribing to our channel, liking our videos, and sharing your loved ones. Your support means the world to us. Now to our story. I was still trying to understand the word the doctor had just said, cancer, when my phone buzzed on the tray beside the hospital bed. My hands were shaking as I reached for it, for tube tugging slightly. The message preview flashed across the screen. It was from my wife. I didn't sign up for this. That was it. No, are you okay? No, we'll get through this. Just 5 cold words that cut deeper than the diagnosis itself. I opened the message, hoping, stupidly, that maybe there was more. There was. I didn't sign up for this. I need to be happy. Don't make this harder. She sent that while I was still trying to breathe, still staring at the ceiling like the tiles might give me answers. I blinked a few times, my chest tightening, not from the cancer, but from her words. I replied, just one word. What? No response. I sent another message, then another. Blue bubbles turned green. She blocked me. A nurse came in a few minutes later to check my vitals. I nodded, said I was fine, even though I wasn't. I couldn't be. How could I be? My wife, my partner of 7 years, had just left me through a text message, while I was in a hospital gown, alone. When my sister showed up later that night, I couldn't even look her. She asked where my wife was. I just handed her the phone. Silence. Then she said something that stuck with me. I always knew something was off with her. I looked up. What do you mean? She hesitated. Then, reluctantly, she told me about the time she caught my wife getting too close with someone at a party. That was 6 months ago. She never said anything because she didn't have proof, and because she didn't want to ruin my marriage if it was just a misunderstanding. Turns out it wasn't. The guy's name was Ryan, her coworker. Supposedly just a friend. My sister saw them holding hands when they thought no one was watching. Heard whispers. Laughter that didn't belong to someone married. The pieces started clicking together. The late nights. The extra work trips. The sudden coldness at home. And now the text. I stared at the ceiling again. Not for answers this time. Just to keep the tears from falling out. Because the woman I thought I'd grow old with? She didn't sign up for this. But she did sign up for something else. And she had no idea what was coming next. People used to say we were the perfect couple. And I believed it. Scroll through our Instagram feed and you'd see it. Beach vacations, matching holiday sweaters, inside jokes and captions, and anniversary dinners lit by candlelight. We smiled a lot in those photos. It looked real because, to me, it was. But looking back now, I realize most of that smiling was just for the camera. At home, things were different. Subtle things I didn't want to see at the time. She started getting quiet when I talked about my work. She rolled her eyes when I left the dishes in the sink. She used to laugh at my dumb jokes. Then one day, she just didn't. She talked a lot about how she sacrificed everything to be with me. At first, I thought she meant it in a loving way, like we were both giving up things to build something bigger together. But slowly, her words started to sting. She'd say things like, I could have gone to New York, but I stayed for you. I gave up my freedom. I need something for me. And when she got the idea for her startup, I was her biggest supporter. I believed in her. I dipped into my savings, money I'd set aside for a down payment on a house, and handed it over without a second thought. Think of it as our future, I'd said. I never imagined I was funding her escape route. The man she's with now, Ryan, isn't just her lover. He's her business partner. The same guy she introduced me to as a brilliant tech mind. The guy she insisted was just helping her with marketing. I even shook his hand, told him, thanks for looking out for her. God, I was such an idiot. It wasn't just my heart she walked out on. It was my trust, my money, my future. She took the loan I gave her and turned it into a business, without ever putting my name on it. Everything was hers. On paper, I was just a supportive husband, not an investor, not a partner. When the cancer hit, she didn't see me as someone to care for. She saw me as dead weight. She ghosted me emotionally long before that text. That was just the moment she finally said it out loud. She didn't just leave me. She took everything I had. Left. The hospital walls had started to blur into one long, endless beige. The food was garbage, the sleep was worse, and every day felt like a reminder that I wasn't the man I used to be. But that day, I had a visitor, my best friend Nate. He walked in carrying my favorite coffee and tried to crack the same dumb jokes he always did. I appreciated it more than I let on. We were halfway through catching up when he said it. Man, I knew something was off with her, even before all this. I blinked. What do you mean? He froze for a second, stared at the coffee in his hands. Forget it. No, I said. Say it. He hesitated, then let out a long breath. All right. Look, a couple of us noticed stuff months ago. The late-night texts, the way she'd disappear during parties, always claiming work emergencies. We didn't want to say anything because, Hell, you were happy. And we didn't have proof. I didn't say anything. Just listened. Let it sit. She was already seeing that Ryan guy, wasn't she? I asked quietly. Nate didn't answer. He didn't have to. My brain went into overdrive. I started piecing it together. Every excuse, every weird moment I'd brushed off. Like the time she got a message at 11 p.m. and smiled while hiding her phone. Or the weekend she claimed to be at a women's networking retreat, but forgot I could see her location through Find My iPhone. It wasn't a retreat. It was his apartment. The more I thought, the angrier I got. She was already slipping away before the diagnosis. She'd already made her choice. Cancer just gave her the perfect out, one she didn't even have to feel guilty about. She was already halfway out the door, I muttered. Cancer just gave her the excuse. That's when something inside me shifted. The grief didn't disappear, but it hardened. Focused. I stopped crying. Stopped wondering why she did it. I knew why. Now, I wanted to make sure she didn't get to walk away clean. So I started collecting everything. Every text, bank statement, email. I pulled old receipts showing how much I invested in her company. I called an old college buddy who knew a thing or two about business law. I didn't scream. I didn't confront. I documented. Because if she thought I'd roll over and let her win, she had no idea who I really was. She left a dying man behind. But I wasn't dead yet. 2 weeks after she walked out, I got served. Divorce papers. Filed under irreconcilable differences. I stared at the envelope like it might catch fire in my hand. No message, no explanation. Just her signature at the bottom and a list of demands. Half my remaining savings. No mention of the money I gave her for her startup and full ownership of everything tied to her business. It was like a slap in the face, only colder. Then came the real gut punch. She told mutual friends I'd grown bitter after the diagnosis, that I was emotionally draining, and refused to let her live her life. She painted herself as the one holding everything together until she just couldn't anymore. She made herself the victim. I wasn't even angry at that point. I was numb, until my sister stepped in. You're not signing that, she said, slamming the papers on my hospital table. You're going to fight. I laughed bitterly. With what money? She took everything. No, she said. You gave her everything, but now we take it back. That's when she introduced me to a lawyer friend of hers, a ruthless woman named Maya, who didn't smile once during our meeting. She read through the paperwork silently, flipping through the pages like she was dissecting a corpse. Then she looked up and said, "She's hiding something." Over the next few weeks, Maya dug deep. She combed through financial records, requested transaction histories, and subpoenaed documents from the startup. What she found made my blood run cold. My wife hadn't just taken my support. She'd moved thousands from our joint account into a business account under her name alone. Quiet transfers, masked as shared expenses. She used my money to build something she planned to cut me out of entirely. There were even records showing that before the diagnosis, she'd met with an IP lawyer, trying to make sure I couldn't claim any stake in her brand, just in case. Every move she made had been calculated. The timing, the story, the divorce. She thought I'd be too sick to care, too weak to fight. But she forgot one thing. I had nothing left to lose. I sat across from Maya one afternoon, flipping through the proof she gathered. Emails, transfers, screenshots. She's not just heartless, I said. She's a thief. Maya nodded. And we're going to treat her like one. That night, I stared at the ceiling again. Not from sadness this time. From focus. She thought chemo would break me. But chemo didn't kill my spine. Recovery wasn't fast. Some days I could barely get out of bed. Some days I didn't want to. But every morning, I made myself sit up. Then stand. Then take a step. I told myself just one more. One more minute. One more lap. One more push. The pain was real, but so was the anger. I used it like fuel. And while I fought to get stronger, she moved in with him. Yeah, Ryan. The coworker, the friend. The one she said I had nothing to worry about. A friend sent me their new apartment listing online. Another sent me a screenshot of them grinning at some rooftop party, arms around each other, her laughing like the last few years of our marriage never happened. They weren't hiding anymore. Her Instagram was suddenly full of softlit couple photos, cutesy captions, power couple hashtags. I didn't comment, didn't text her, didn't post a single word about it. Instead, I kept my head down, kept working. In between chemo sessions and hospital follow-ups, I started going through an old notebook I found in my closet, something I kept years ago when I was still toying with side ideas for extra income. One of them had real potential. Back then I never had time to build it. Now I had nothing but time. I started small. Worked late at night, sitting on the edge of my bed with a heating pad on my back and a laptop balanced on my knees. I researched, tested, designed, and relaunched my old project, an e-commerce store selling custom gear. It was niche, but it had an audience. I poured everything into it. Sales trickled in. Then they grew. People liked the quality, the design, the story. My body still ached, but my spirit didn't feel broken anymore. I was rebuilding brick by brick, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally. I went from walking laps around my hospital ward to lifting light weights in my living room, from sleeping 12 hours a day to waking up before sunrise just to work on the business. Every time I felt tired, I reminded myself, she thought I wouldn't get this far. Friends started noticing. They said I looked stronger, more alive. And yeah, I still had cancer. I still had a long way to go. But I was moving forward, not out of revenge, not to prove anything to her, but to prove something to me. She thought she'd buried me, but I was just getting started. It came out of nowhere. A message in my inbox from a name I didn't recognize, subject line, "You deserve to see this." I almost didn't open it, thought it was spam, but something made me click. Inside was a short note. "I used to work with your ex. I saw how she treated you. I recently quit, and I've been sitting on these for a while. Figured you should have them." Attached were dozens of forwarded emails, all internal messages from her company. At first, I didn't know what I was looking at. Most were harmless, updates, schedules, office chatter. Then I saw the one she sent to Ryan. The subject lines got darker. "The cancer thing is exhausting. I can't believe he still thinks we're a team." And the worst one, "Once this divorce is finalized, I'm getting everything. He'll be too weak to fight back, if he's even around long enough." I read that sentence at least 10 times, each word hitting harder than the last. My hands were shaking. My jaw clenched so tight I thought my teeth might crack. She joked about my illness, my treatment, my death, to the man she cheated on me with. And not once. There were dozens of messages like it, cold, smug, cruel. One even had a meme attached, a photo of a skeleton with the caption, "Still waiting for him to sign the damn paper." They thought it was funny. I didn't. I forwarded everything to Maya, my lawyer. She called me 5 minutes later, furious. "These aren't just disgusting," she said. "They're useful." I didn't ask what she meant. I just told her to do whatever she needed to do. Because that was it. That was the last crack in the dam. Up until then, some part of me still wanted to believe she was just lost. That maybe she'd made mistakes, but she wasn't cruel. That belief died in those emails. Every ounce of sympathy I had for her drained out of me. She didn't leave because she couldn't handle the pain. She left because she thought she could upgrade her life while I disappeared quietly. But I wasn't going anywhere. And now I had proof, her own words, typed out casually between meetings, that she had planned this, mocked me for being sick, and thought the world would never know. The revenge clock started ticking the second I hit forward, and she had no idea it was already counting down. It started small. A post on Reddit. Some user with a throwaway account shared screenshots of emails, ugly. A CEO joking about her sick husband, talking about getting everything in the divorce, laughing with her lover while her partner fought cancer. The post didn't mention names at first, but the internet's good at connecting dots. People started digging. One photo matched her office, a quote from her Instagram bio. Then someone found her startup's website, a LinkedIn post. Within a day, it was everywhere. CEO abandons husband with cancer, now under fire for misconduct. That headline hit a local news site by day 2. Then it hit Twitter. Then LinkedIn. The comments section exploded. "How heartless can you be? This is sociopathic behavior. Who invests in a company run by someone like this?" She tried to post a statement, some PR-written nonsense about privacy and misinformation. It backfired. Every line was picked apart, mocked, memed. The screenshots were real, and no one was buying her spin. Then came the investors. One by one, they pulled out. Quiet at first. Then publicly. A well-known angel investor tweeted that they were shocked and disappointed by what had come to light. Partnerships dissolved. A big podcast episode she was scheduled to be on disappeared from the lineup. She shut off her Instagram, closed comments on LinkedIn. But it was too late. Her company wasn't just taking a hit, it was collapsing. The name she worked so hard to build was now permanently tied to scandal. And I didn't say a word. People asked me to speak out. Friends said I should make a post, tell my side. But I didn't need to. The emails spoke for themselves. The internet did the rest. I went for a walk that morning, the first long one in weeks. I still moved slow, still felt weak. But that day I walked a little taller, a little straighter. At the corner coffee shop, I saw 2 college kids sitting outside. They were looking at their phones. One of them said, "Did you see that CEO who dumped her husband during chemo?" The other guy laughed. "Yeah, wild. She's done." They had no idea who I was. And that was the best part. I didn't need credit. Didn't want it. All I needed was to know that she finally saw the cost of what she did. Not just in silence. Not just in court. But in full view of the world she thought she'd conquered. Her name was out there. But not for the reasons she wanted. The courtroom was colder than I expected. Sterile, quiet. Just the sound of papers shuffling and heels clicking on tile. I sat beside Maya, calm on the outside. Inside, I was holding back a storm. She walked in with Ryan. They didn't hold hands, but they sat close. She looked polished, serious, trying hard to seem in control. But when her eyes met mine, I saw it, hesitation. Doubt. Like maybe she finally realized I wasn't showing up to roll over. The proceedings began. Her lawyer painted a familiar story, irreconcilable differences, emotional strain. A tragic situation that forced difficult choices. Maya didn't interrupt. She waited. Then it was our turn. Maya laid out everything. Every transfer from our shared accounts. Every email showing how the business was built using my money. Proof of financial abuse. Proof of betrayal. Even the judge's eyebrows rose as Maya calmly dropped email after email into the evidence pile. When the screenshots came up, the ones where she joked about my cancer, there was a long silence. Her face went white. Her lawyer tried to object, but it was too late. The damage was done. The judge didn't yell, didn't get emotional. He just asked questions, and Maya answered every one with dates, receipts, and calm precision. By the end, the outcome wasn't even close. I kept the house. She was ordered to pay back a portion of what she took. I was granted a percentage of future business profits as compensation for early investment, even if her company somehow survived. She sat there, shoulders shrinking. No more smirks. No more confidence. She started to cry. Real, ugly sobs. I didn't move. I didn't gloat. Didn't look away either. She had expected me to show up weak. To be tired, quiet, small. A shadow of myself. But I sat there steady. Alive. Solid. I didn't say a word to her. Not during the entire hearing, because nothing I could say would match the silence of justice doing its job. When it ended, I stood up slowly and shook Maya's hand. She nodded once. Told you we'd make it count. As I walked out, I didn't look back. I didn't need to. That courtroom had seen everything. The lies, the theft, the cruelty. And it had seen the truth too. She left me to die. But I walked out stronger than I ever was. It had been a few quiet months since the final court ruling. The startup she once bragged about had gone radio silent. Her social media accounts vanished. I heard through a mutual friend that Ryan bailed not long after the public backlash. Guess loyalty has an expiration date when things get uncomfortable. I didn't care anymore. My energy went elsewhere, into rebuilding, into healing. I started surfing again, slowly at first. My body was still recovering, but my balance was coming back. So was my laughter. I started seeing people again. I traveled. I went out with friends. I breathed without feeling like something was sitting on my chest. One night, after a day at the beach, I was scrolling through my messages, cleaning up my inbox. That's when I saw it. An unknown number. No profile photo. No name. Just one message. I know I don't deserve a response, but I've been thinking about everything. I made the biggest mistake of my life. I miss you. I regret all of it. Can we talk? I stared at the screen for a long time. It was her. I didn't need confirmation. The tone, the wording. It was exactly how she used to talk when she was trying to sound soft. When she wanted something. I didn't reply. There was nothing left to say. No apology could fix what she did. No words could undo the silence when I needed her most. No regret could erase her laughing behind my back while I fought to stay alive. But I did send something back. A photo. It was taken just hours before. I was standing on the beach with two of my closest friends, wetsuit half unzipped, sun setting behind us. I was smiling genuinely. Not posing, not pretending. Alive. Whole. Strong. I typed a short message beneath it. This is what you didn't sign up for. Then I blocked the number. Not out of spite. Not even out of anger. But because that was the end of her chapter in my life. She walked out when I was at my lowest, thinking I'd never make it through. But I did. Not just in spite of her. Because of her. Because the pain she left behind became the reason I fought harder. She'll probably tell herself someday that I was cruel not to respond. That she tried to make it right. Let her. I don't need closure from someone who threw me away. I already found it in myself. There were nights I almost gave up. Nights when the pain was too much, when the room felt too quiet, when I couldn't remember what it felt like to just breathe without fear. I used to wonder if it would have been easier to just let go, to stop fighting, to close my eyes and be done with it all. But something always kept me going. Anger, spite, hope, some strange mix of all three. And now, somehow, I'm still here. The doctor said the word I wasn't sure I'd ever hear, remission. My numbers were stable. My scans were clean. I still had scars, but they were starting to fade, inside and out. Life didn't go back to what it was. It never does. But I started living again. I'm dating slowly, carefully. I'm not rushing into anything, and I'm not looking for another perfect couple's story. I just want real, honest, quiet peace. Funny thing is, my story got out. I didn't mean for it to happen. I never posted anything myself. But when the court documents became public, people started talking. Screenshots spread. Someone pieced together what happened and shared it on Reddit. Then it went viral. Suddenly I was that guy. the husband with cancer who got betrayed and fought back. People sent me messages from all over. Some shared their own stories. Others just wanted to say they were rooting for me. It was strange, but healing too. For once, the attention didn't feel fake. It wasn't curated like the old social media posts I used to share with her. It was raw and real and full of people who understood what survival really looked like. I think back to the version of me lying in that hospital bed months ago. Pale, weak, lost. If he could see me now, standing in the sun, laughing again, slowly opening my heart to someone new, I think he'd be proud. Not because I won in court. Not because I got revenge. But because I made it through the part one thought would end me. She almost did what cancer couldn't. She drained me, broke me down, left me to rot while she smiled for the camera. But I didn't stay down. I healed. I grew. I came back stronger. Not in some dramatic movie-style way, but in the quiet, steady way that matters most. Cancer didn't kill me, but she might have if I let her.